Welcome to Wild Landfill. Croeso I Dirlenwi Gwyll. I'm Jim Langley. This short presentation is all about bringing nature back to old rubbish tips that we know as landfill sites. The Wild Landfill project is happening right now in North Wales and Anglesey, and there are loads of ways you can get involved. But first, I've got to let you know about it. It's the story of rubbish and what happened to it once it leaves your home, and how we can bring nature back to the sites where it's dumped. There's a bunch of keywords I'll be using, so have your keyword sheet ready to tick them off as you hear them. You'll also see the definitions too, so if you can match them up after with the talk, that would be fantastic. We'll be using words such as nature, habitat, biodiversity, waste, recycle, and rewild. So can you answer this question? What is landfill? If you pause the video here so you can let your teacher know your suggestions. If you said anything like, it's a place where we bury household waste in the ground, then you'll be pretty spot on. My next question for you is, what items do you think end up as landfill? Pause the video again so you can let your teacher know your thoughts. If you said anything like household waste, garden waste, food waste, plastic bags, old shoes, clothes, and cardboard, then again, you'd be right. Essentially, it's all the things we dispose of from home that you put into your bin. All of these waste items get collected and then are mixed up and end up in the very same place, a landfill site. So we have a problem because some of these items can take a very long time to break down. Some plastics can take over 400 years to decompose, which means landfill sites will keep expanding and we need more of them too. Do you fancy playing a Kahoot game about wild landfill? Pause the video and come back afterwards. So we end up with one big, huge pile of rubbish. Now, can you think of ways that we can reduce what goes into our landfill sites? Pause the video again here to give your teachers the answers. If you said things like, we can sort out our waste items, or reduce what we waste, or even recycle the items so they can be reused, then these are excellent suggestions. Now, once we've sorted out our waste items, we can recycle them. And by sorting them into different bins, we get to reduce what will end up in the landfill. So the metal cans can get separated from the newspapers, from the glass bottles and the plastic containers. The organic waste, which is all your food waste and fruit peelings and veg, that is pretty cool because that will end up rotting down and decomposes and eventually turning into soil. One very important question is, where does the land to make these landfill sites come from? The answer is it comes from the natural world, areas that were beautiful forests and meadows, rivers and wetlands. And these habitats provide the homes for all of our plants and animals. We have a special word for all these plants and animals found in nature, and we call it biodiversity. And nature is fascinating, and there are so many bright and colourful plants. In North Wales, near my home, there's this flower called the bee orchid, and it looks just like a bee. But that's not just by chance. The orchid looks and mimics like a female bee to encourage a male bee to land on it, thinking it's found a mate. The orchid is happy as it collects the pollen carried by the bee, but it tricks the bee into thinking it's found a mate. It's a really clever way of making sure it gets pollinated. Have you ever seen such a flower near your house? I reckon if you look close enough in the meadow one day, you may see one. It's a kind of experience that got me into nature when I was your age. So now we need to dig a big hole in this beautiful countryside for the waste to go in. And then we need to start filling it until it's full. But then what happens? How long will the site last? Where does the new rubbish go? What suggestions do you have? So you can pause the presentation here to give your answers and your thoughts to your teachers. And at the end of the talk, there's a way of sharing some of these ideas with us. But first, the landfill site gets capped You get a sheet of plastic and then it's covered with soil, and that prevents any of the items escaping. And if anything did escape, then we call this pollution. So we don't want that to happen, and we prevent it at all costs. Again, what can we do as individuals to reduce items ending up in landfill? Pause the video again for your suggestions. If you said things like reduce packaging, consume less, sort your waste, repair old items like shoes and trousers, these are excellent ideas. Something we can all do is to follow the 3 R's rule. We can reduce what we consume. We can reuse things, but if we can't reuse them, then we can recycle them, which is where they're remade into new products. Here is a picture of an old landfill site on Anglesey. Do you think plants and animals could return here? Could you see butterflies and birds and flowers and even red squirrels returning to this area? Well, first, we can give them a helping hand by providing trees as a habitat for all of these birds and insects. And then over time, other plants and animals will naturally come to this new habitat, increasing the overall biodiversity. But we can't just plant any old trees. We need to plant the right trees, ones that would have lived there in the area before it became a big hole for our waste. Do you think we could restore it back to how it was long before it was a rubbish dump? Well, we can try. And when we do this, there's a special term that we use. What do you think is it? We've mentioned it earlier. That's right, it's called rewilding. So is rewilding a good thing? What do you think? Pause the presentation here and give your thoughts to your teachers. So did you think it's mostly a good thing? Yeah, I think so too. Having more plants and animals around is a really good idea. And if we make more room for them, we'll be encouraging even more to return to the area. So now the bit where you can get involved. Here in North Wales and Anglesey, there are 4 disused landfill sites which are now being rewilded. This is really exciting. We have live video cameras on 4 sites. We've also got time-lapse cameras set up to record the changes over time and through the changing seasons. There's been a huge program of tree planting this winter, and you can see all of this on our website, Wild Landfill, and your teacher will help engage you with this. A design team have made habitat maps of the 4 sites to ensure the right plants get put in the right environments. So we've got a network, a mosaic of habitats from meadows to woodlands and new wetland sites. And birds and animals are really going to love coming back to these new habitats. So where do you fit into all of this? Would you like to visit a site close to your school? This is so possible. I'd love to take you and guide you around there. There are other ways you can get involved too. Does your school have an eco club or a council you can get involved with? Have you ever done a nature survey in your school grounds? Have you ever made a home for insects, such as like a bug hotel, just out of a cardboard box or an egg box? If we start making these small steps, and by learning about nature, providing a habitat for nature, and reducing our household waste, then we can begin to appreciate all the nature that already exists around us. So just one final thought for you. Hiding our waste in a big hole and then covering it up as a home for nature is one solution to our waste. But it's not the only solution. New technology is developing ways to harness the energy and gas from landfill sites to use as a fuel in power stations. Just imagine you could come up with your own solution, however crazy you think it is. What could you do? I would love to know your answers. You can put your thoughts into a poem, a short video, or even a drawing. And then you could share these ideas as a wall display on school intranet, or even with us on our website, if you're happy to do so. I'm so glad you've taken part in this talk and can't wait to see you involved with the project. Bye for now.